What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I want to thank you for joining me again today. Today I'm going to pick up where I left off. If you remember in my previous video, I was telling you about the crankbaits I have the most confidence in 1 to 6 foot of water. And today I'm going to cover the depth range of 7 to 12 feet with the baits that I have the most confidence in. You'll see the colors are going to be similar, but some of the baits are going to be different. As I mentioned before, cranking is my favorite way to fish. It's the technique I have the most confidence in. So a lot of times I turn to cranking and see if I can get a pattern going with crankbait fishing before I try some of the other techniques. So I'm going to start off today with a bait that's been around for a while. I'm sure a lot of people throw it. It's the Bomber Fat-Free Shad. It dives anywhere from, I'd say, 10 to 12 feet on 12-pound line, which is what I crank with all the time. Some of the colors are similar than the baits I covered the other day. The citrus shad color, you can look at this one and tell it's called its share of fish. It's white on the sides, blue on top, and a chartreuse belly. Another good color is the chartreuse with a blue back and the orange belly. These two colors are real good in the spring, but also in the summer when the fish have spawned and move off and they're starting to move back out of the creeks, back onto secondary points or points on the main lake. These are two good crankbaits for covering those areas after the spawn. In the spring, early spring, when the people tend to favor the color red, just because of the whole theory behind bass feeding a lot on crawfish. In the early spring, when the water first starts to push towards 50 and above 50, say to 55, this red with the black back has been a good color for me with that. The next bait I'm going to talk about is one I mentioned the other day in the previous video. This is the DT8. This was just added to the DT series lineup about probably 3 or 4 years ago. I know we've always had the DT4 and the DT6, but then it was skipped to the 10 and 12 and 16, I think. And they may even have a DT20 now. But this is the DT8, and since I have added a few of these to my crankbait box, I have had a reasonable amount of luck with these also. The DT6 has always been real good to me. And after the DT6, I'd probably say the 10 has probably been the best, next best producing bait for me in that line of baits from Rapala. This is the old school. It's one of my favorite colors, yellow with a black back. And this is just another crawl color, red crawl with a brown on top. Old school, I pretty much throw in clear water or dingy water. It doesn't matter. It's always been just a good color choice for me. I throw DT6 and a DT4 in that color as well. But it's just a good all-around color. And the red crawl is mainly a springtime choice, just like with all the other crawfish colored baits. The next bait I'm going to talk about is another in the Spro Little John series. This is the Little John MD, medium diver. It dives anywhere from 7 to 9 feet on 12-pound line. This bait is a flat side. Again, I mentioned this earlier. It's not as thin across the width of the bait as some of the other flat sides. So the action on it is it's not as tight a wiggle as you would get with a flat side, but it's still a good bait in colder water. But I throw this bait a lot even after the water has warmed up. That's their Sexy Shad, their version of Sexy Shad. And this is just yellow with a black back, orange belly. That's a good color, in muddy, dirty, stained water. That's a good river color too. The next bait is the Strike King 3XD. The 3XD dives about 10 to 12 feet on 12-pound line. At Kerr Lake, Bugs Island, whichever you call it. This is a really, really good bait. It's good around points and secondary points. Like I said, anytime you see bait fish holding in 8 to 10 foot of water consistently, if you see that a lot, you go to this bait and you can catch some fish with it. It'll get you bites. And Sexy Shad's always a good color, and this bait has just got a good action to it. Strike King makes some good crankbaits, everybody knows that. But this is one that I go to a lot in the early summer and into the summer when I know the fish are feeding on a lot of bait and they're holding in 8 to 10 foot of water. That's a good choice. The next bait is a bait that's not in production anymore. I've only got like 6 or 7 of these. It was made by Bandit, and now they've since been bought out by, I think, Pradco Lure Company. And the only place I see any of these for sale anymore is on eBay. I never see them in a tackle store. No one lists them on their websites, Tackle Warehouse, Bass Pro. None of the people I usually buy from, they don't carry these anymore online. This was the Bandit 700 series. This bait dives anywhere from 12 to 15 feet on 12-pound line. And these 3 colors are the colors that I have always used and always work best for me. This is their Shad color. It's just pale, kind of white, a little blue hue to it with chartreuse on the sides. This is their yellow with a brown back and orange belly. That's good in stained and dingy water. But this color right here has probably been the one I've had the most luck with and caught the most fish with, and this is their version of Citrus Shad. Everyone's got their own little variation of that when it comes to the colors, but this is pearl with blue on top and chartreuse on the bottom. Like I said, 12 to 15 foot is the depth range on this on 12-pound line, and I have caught an awful good number of fish on this bait. And again, it's not in production, so on eBay people ask for a lot of money for these, and honestly I ain't willing to pay what they're asking. So I'm really trying to hold on to the 6 or 7 of these I got left. And one of the ways you can keep from losing your crankbaits, and this is something I do, I wish I should have took one out because I got 2 or 3 of them. Hold on, I got one right here I can get. Be right back. Here's a way you can save yourself some money if you like to crankbait fish. And how you can keep baits like that if you don't have a lot of them and you're trying to keep from losing them. I think this particular one, this is a plug knocker. And it's made by Strike Zone Lure Company. I have bought them on Amazon and I have bought them on Tackle Warehouse. You get 3 in a pack, I think. You just take the clip and clip it on your line, get your line nice and tight and get above the bait. You clip this on and just slide it down the line and let it slide all the way down to your bait, and then you just start popping the rod tip. And this, I don't know how many times, has kept me from losing a crankbait. It saves you a lot of money because crankbaits ain't cheap, and it's always a way to get your baits back. And I always keep one up by the trolling motor, and I got a couple more on the boat somewhere. But they're inexpensive, and with what some of these crankbaits cost, and the money you have to spend nowadays on tackle, and this is just a way you can save yourself some money and keep from losing some of your baits. These last 3 baits I'm going to talk about, these are all actually new baits, and I haven't even thrown these yet. But because of the success I've had with the Black Label baits I mentioned in the previous video, the bacon and the rumble, I've decided to try some of their deeper diving baits as well. This is called the Rock Hound, and this is one of their crawfish colors. And it's like I told you, Cliff Pace, the classic winner, he's the owner of this company, and the paint schemes and the finishes on his baits are ridiculous how good they are. Now, a lot of times when you buy hand carved balsa baits, you're going to spend more money than you would on a plastic bait because of the process of them making it and then painting it and then finishing it, and all the work that goes into them. So when you consider the finish and everything and the colors he has on his baits, to me, they're worth the money, because everything I've bought so far has caught fish. So this is called the Rock Hound. This is the only one I have in this color, but I'm going to get more of them eventually. This is called the Seducer. This dies about 8 foot, or it should die 7-8 foot on 12-pound line. This bait is in the color, it's one of my favorite colors of his baits. It's called Slick. It's brown on top, gray on the sides, and then it's got a little pearl finish, and then it goes into Chartreuse. Like I said, the paint schemes on his baits are like just ridiculous how good they are. I don't know how much time it takes him to paint these baits when he makes them, but I've hit some up against my boat. I've banged them off of rocks. I've hit a couple of dots with them, and the finish just holds up. So to me, they're definitely worth the money. They cost a little more than a plastic crankbait, but they do catch fish. The last one, this is a flat side bait, and this is called the Fat Flat, and this is also in the Slick color. And I hope the camera lets you see the color schemes. But if you want to see all his baits, go to woodbaitcountry.com and just look under the black label balsa. And he's got so many models, and I don't know how many different color schemes he's got. But every bait I bought from him so far, I haven't been disappointed in. They've all caught fish, and they've all held up well to being fished a lot. That's really it for the 7 to 12 foot crankbaits as far as the ones I have the most confidence in and the ones that I throw. Hopefully this is something that'll help somebody, and like I said, it'll help you catch more fish, give you an idea about some new baits to try, some new colors to try. I want to thank anyone and everyone that has subscribed to the channel. I know that this YouTube thing is it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, so it takes a while to get a good subscriber base and get views on your videos. I have been getting a good number of views, and I am again thankful for the people that have subscribed to the channel. If you like the videos, I appreciate it, and if you would subscribe, that'd be great too. There's so much volume out there on YouTube for fishing right now, and I know that because I've been watching it for the last couple of years, and it's kind of just exploded. There's a lot of people doing video on fishing, especially bass fishing. So if you take the time out of your day to watch the videos I'm making, thank you. And if you would, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you've got some baits you like to use that I haven't mentioned, or you could leave that in the comments. And like I said, I plan to learn from comments and suggestions I may get from the videos, just like I'm hoping that something I'll tell someone will help them catch more fish. That's the whole point behind doing this. I love to fish, and I wanted another avenue to do something with fishing besides just the tournaments that I fish. And this is the avenue that I chose. So if you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. And I want to wish everybody a safe and happy 2024. And I will see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.